Welcome to another edition of What the Fuck? Thoughts from inmendham. Yeah, that might work. I don't know. Anyway, deep inmendham? Yeah, somewhere in inmendham. Somewhere in inmendham? No, that won't work. Well, anyway, this working thing is just really difficult. That's sort of the subject for the week. This is conversation things, It's a little bit on AI, and then some hyper bullshit thing, and then some whatever politics. Just how it's all poorly manufactured and presented and dealt with, and it is all kind of pig trough kind of slop. Yeah, that's kind of how we communicate. It's in buckets of slop. And we think we would have figured out how to do this a little bit better, a little bit more scientific, a little more articulate. Less of this, as much as I like the artistic thing, just it is sort of always a lie, right? It's always just a perversion of reality, usually. Either by context, pretty flower, you don't show the flower when it's dying and rotting, that kind of thing, or, something more overt, the photoshopped version, but it's all propaganda. Everything is engineered byproducts. It's made to look and smell like something, but it's really shit, and it's just been ground up into the appropriate patty for consumption. Yeah. So what do you do about that? Gee, how do you turn that bad machine off and plug the right machine in? The truth machine. Let's quit doing all this bullshit. Let's quit poster childing politics and everything else, and get to some kind of real kind of conversation where bullshit. A little bell goes off when somebody starts bullshitting, and you have to start over, do better, or you get shot or something. Some appropriate response to just how enough of that shit already. If you can't deal with the facts, then don't deal with nothing, and get out of the game, or something like that. And well, anyway, that's just one man's commentary, right, on how do you do this, make somebody, how do you convey what's in one brain and convey it to another brain and convey it to another brain and do this. Reality is one thing. We should be able to commonly understand it. Yeah, you would think, but it's not the way it's working out. So anyway, in the next extension, the next video that would have maybe been made if I was going to continue this week, or maybe I'll do something next week differently, or maybe whatever. Well, anyway, I saw another, what's his name, Sam Harris podcast thing. It's not really a podcast, it's a video cast with no video. But anyway, whatever. I think you'd have a link to an MP3 somewhere, just for the sake of consistency with the theme. But, whatever. Where was I? Yeah, anyway, Sam Harris. So he was talking to the animal rights guy. Can't remember his name. Yeah. Sam Peter Singer. And I found it all quite disappointing, actually. I haven't gotten all the way through it yet. Another half hour to go. But the first half hour was the conversation about, you got all these nihilists that don't even get the whole concept of value, and so you have to have a half an hour conversation about, whether there's anything at stake here. That's even, when you see that happen, you're just like, oh, we have to You really have to do this over and over, and you know, it's, I guess you have to concede that yes, you have to in a way, but it's like, why don't you just agree that you were going to be two rational people and you're not going to bother playing with all the irrational arguments or something like that. But anyway, it just does get you thinking, you know, about, you know, how can you even have a conversation about artificial intelligence in a world where people can't even concede the existence of something as fundamental as their own sentient welfare. I mean, they won't concede it overtly, like in a statement. They won't concede they exist. They have feeling states, and the feeling states are importantly different. You know, you're just, what the fuck? So I was thinking about AI, you know, artificial intelligence, and what they convert into is animal intelligence. You know, a lot of these people too, they might concede it exists, but they don't. They think it only has function as you know, prescription for some sort of animal behavior, and that's all we're, you know, we don't have any capacity to be anything other than a bug, and it's just like, well, that's just so stupid. I mean, we demonstrate the capacity all over the place to do things that for which we're not doing our bug self-interest thing in. We're trying to solve a problem or just measuring how long a board is. There's hardly any self-interest in it. You know, it's a mechanical, logical process of, you know, figuring how much gas you get per mile out of your car or something. These are mechanical functions that we're perfectly capable of doing in terms of applying our intelligence, and there's no need to question their meaning or reality or all, you know, and, you know, well, anyway, and they're just understood as this is a faculty, a function that we have, is to process the world. And, well, you know, anyway, and it gets back to my argument that this is you know, the value thing is an intrinsic function. It's exactly what the brain had to create to make us care about stuff in the environment. The stuff in the environment, value doesn't give off a smell, it doesn't give off light, it doesn't give off radiation, it doesn't give off something. So you can only see it, right, if you have a brain that makes you see it, that makes a feeling. And that's just the way it is. And that's what our brain had to do to make stuff valuable, was to make us feel it. Because that's the only way you can see it, is to feel it. And that's just the catch of value. It can't be seen, it has to be felt. It's an experience thing. Bad is an experience thing. It's not a thought thing or a fact thing, like you can just write down how many atoms are in a sun or something. It just doesn't have a reality like that. It has a reality that is different, and got to be recognized in a different method, a different way. And that's what our brain was doing by synthesizing this feeling. So now it's made value and associated with something. So it's not, it's created a way for you to understand what value is. It's given you a sample of value, and therefore you can apply the sample to all the other things that have value, because now you know what it is. So now you can appreciate the suffering of something else because you know what the suffering is. Okay, you can know that pain is bad because you have felt pain and it's bad. I mean, it's that kind of obvious. So your brain manufactures it, and the greatness of the fact that it manufactures it for you, for these interests that have nothing to do with any kind of philosophy, they just have to do with making a motivated bug. But the fact that it gave you a way of sampling value means that now you can see value, because now you can compare it to the thing you have experienced. You can compare your feelings to what you can see to be something else's experience, and understand that it's experiencing this feeling thing, and that you know what that is. You've tasted that bad taste, and so you know what it's like. I mean, it's that kind of thing. So that's how, you know, that it wasn't a perfectly eloquent way to describe it, but the point is it's just a function, and this function now gives us the capacity to see. We can see what you otherwise wouldn't be able to see. If you were an artificial intelligence and you never had a feeling, you couldn't see value. You couldn't know what it is. Because you'd have nothing, you'd have no sample of it. And without a sample, it's uncognizable. If you can't compare it to anything else in the universe, then there's no way you can recognize it. It's not that's the way the brain works. The brain works by associating one thing with another thing. Comparing a tornado with a water spout, with the water swirling in your toilet. I mean, they're all similar things, and your brain understands one by understanding the other. Alright, that's probably enough of that. So, yeah, so that's just a frustrating starting point, is that you can't even get off the ground with a significant number of people who are playing some sort of game to separate themselves from any responsibility or accountability for the function of the rest of the world. They're just basically saying they're evading it by having some mechanism where they can just discount the value equation. They could just pretend value is not an issue, and it just you just can't. It's not even as dumb as a bug, because I just don't even think a bug would be that stupid, because a bug is feeling, and it's not going to sit there and negate the significance of that mechanism. Are just, again, not being smart enough to realize that the personal associations are intended to manipulate. I mean, the whole natural mechanism is intended to make you an asshole, and that's just obvious. And so you should be able to deduce that that to really use your intelligence, you have to recognize when you're being tricked or fooled by subjective associations. The whole nature might put inside of you an instinct that's a senseless exaggeration, like a fear of snakes. And then you become smart enough to recognize the difference between a poisonous snake and a non-poisonous snake, and then you can act differently. It would be stupid not to recognize that and in some belligerent way say, no, I'm going to just stay stupid and pretend all snakes are evil, and pretend I don't know the difference, because that provides a certain advantage. And so in this civilization, there's a certain advantage to not recognizing the difference, okay, between a cow and a paramecium and an orchid and your next door neighbor, and just pretend they're all some kind of configuration of matter, and configurations of matter are irrelevant because they're just electrons and stuff. I mean, yes, there might be an advantage to doing something that primitive, like pretending you're a dumb animal and you don't know anything feels. Like a lion. If we gave a lion a high school education, I don't think most lions would say, okay, I'm just going to go back out there and run around, chase things, and, give them a really bad time for no good reason. Half kill them and then eat them. No, I don't think so. But yes, some lions apparently will have not been improved by the experience of knowledge and education, and instead will just say a snake is a snake, and I'm going to be hysterical because it's to my advantage not to recognize the difference. Because if I recognize the difference, then I have to take responsibility for my actions, and I don't want to do any of that because that sounds like work. Something like that. But clearly that's all it is. It's just laying excuses on the ground for why I wish to evade any problematic thinking. I don't want to be bothered. I just know what I want, and I want to get what I want, and I don't want the burden of sharing or being fair or any of that, because I think I can win by not playing the game by the rules. I suppose that's the simplest way to put it. They figure they have enough of an advantage that they gain more by breaking the rules than obeying the rules, kind of thing. Okay, maybe that's enough of a way of saying that. So the bottom line, though, does come to this communication thing and being able to tell this in all little narratives or stories or pointed little things to humiliate and point out who's full of shit and what's full of shit. And that theater just hasn't been built. You know, the theater, ridiculia, you know, the giant stadium where we ridicule stupid cultures and stupid philosophies and idiotic behavior and nonsensical rituals and just the utter disgusting waste. You know, another thing I watched was you know, the Young Turks did a couple of stupid videos. You know, once this Trump thing is over, yeah, I'll find them totally useless again, because they're just silly liberals and they don't really think about anything. Very big on this campaign finance reform, and it's just like, this is the biggest dead end in the universe. You know, this idea that we're going to stop letting people use their money to influence the world. Fuck you. You got no chance of doing that. Like I said, you take the money out of politics, they'll just create think tanks that'll just propagandize, so you're not going to win. I almost argue it's a losing strategy. You're better off with the rich wasting their money on 30-second commercials than you are the rich financing think tanks devoted to propaganda, frankly. And the fact that the rich essentially own all the media already has you out of the game anyway, you suckers. And they're all falling into it, the same kind of trap of, you know, I'll just get a gang of supporters and then our gang will propagandize at the world. And so they're playing the same game of, you know, finance me. You know, they come up with these idiotic solutions like, you know, public financing of campaigns, which is idiotic too, right? I mean, why should, the last thing I want us to do is spend government money and give it to the networks to put silly 30-second commercials on TV. I mean, that's just insane waste of public money. So until the campaigns actually do something with money besides make 30-second propaganda commercials, why should you pay them anything at all? I mean, they're basically admitting we don't want to win an honest election. We just want to propagandize because our message is so shitty. The best we can do is point a finger at the other guy and point out how he's shittier in 30-second commercials. Well, who wants to reward that? I don't. So, yeah, that just becomes kind of silly. Let's publicly finance the painting of the signs. You know, I mean, that's just, no, let's not. So until the campaigns can engineer some kind of substance, yeah, no point in rewarding them. Publicly finance debates every day if they want them. Publicly finance their YouTube channel, okay, and let them talk and talk and talk about how great they are, which they seem to be totally afraid to do. I mean, if I was running for president, I probably would be on YouTube every day saying, hey, vote for me, and these are all the reasons, these 9 million subjects. Well, I'm going to go through every single subject, and I'll explain to you why you'll have better shoes, you'll have better socks, I'll give you better everything. You know, I'll fix everything. Everything's broken, I'm going to fix it. Okay, some stuff will take longer than other stuff, but I mean, it's just going to be day after day of everything getting fixed, and you're going to love it. And I'll explain how I'm going to fix everything. But these assholes don't do any of that. So why should you fund them publicly? They're cowards, for fuck's sake. All they got is, yeah, it'd be really nice not to, blah, blah, blah. You know, and they just paint a vision of a policy that's never a policy. You know, I'm going to, and no, you're not going to do any of that shit. You should have no plan to do it. So anyway, It's all side subject, sorry. So what else is there to, So yes, but there's so many things you have to fix in the democracy before we have any chance of having campaigns that are based on people having integrity. And so that's one of the biggest things. You've got to get rid of these two parties, because the two parties will never give you a candidate with integrity. So we have to fix that and have to make it affirmative votes to get you into the Congress, not stealing votes, all these kind of things, these fixes that are just desperately needed before we can progress. And to get these fixes, we're going to have to vote for a third-party candidate. And one's going to have to show up that's actually got some kind of, that isn't a Pollyanna or a silly person. And unfortunately, the third-party choices in these elections are all crazy, or silly. Crazy or silly. And that's all we get. And that's, that's a problem of the philosophers, the thinkers, the young Turks, all these people who think they're trying to do something, the vegetarians, everybody, vegans, the people all think they're motivated and active. This is the real failure of their activity, is that somehow their activity is so individualized that it doesn't even have the power to produce a candidate as something that can represent an ideology and a progressive direction that they can get 10 people to agree with. And that's a real problem. This is a whole subject in itself. Alright, so what else? I haven't decided what to, maybe I'll have a fight with myself about some kind of subject, but I don't know. You have to be kind of motivated. And both sides of me are probably just give up and just say, oh, fuck you. And, you're an asshole. You're an asshole. No, you're an asshole. You're a bigger asshole. Well, no, you're the bigger asshole. I mean, the biggest, and, just keep escalating the rhetoric until we've thoroughly destroyed each other with meaningless rubbish words. But anyway. Alright, so maybe this segment is complete, and we'll move on to the next bit of fun when it is appropriate and it's so inspired that I will hit a button of some kind of thing and proceed to the next bit of fun. Yeah. Alright. Till then. Pretty much now, but yeah, this is kind of weird, right? Spooky, yeah, spooky action at a distance, or spooky action at a time interval, right? It won't be now for me, but it's going to be now for you. And you say you're not going to have the whole transition period where you get the, oh yeah. I mean, women's feet just came into my head, but you know what I mean. You're not going to be able to get distracted by something and then come back to this, where I will. I don't know who has the advantage there. I mean, maybe it's better to just pound it in, pound, pound, pound. Which, is part of how propaganda can work. I mean, continuing, I'm continuing the segment, but I did see, what's his face posted a video of one of these little animal torture things in the horrible, slaughterhouse places or raised pig places or whatever, and it was just gruesome. Gruesomely gruesome. And yeah, just you're just like, this is just too obviously wrong. It's just too obviously wrong. And humans have to do better than this. They just have no defense for our existence. If we can't function at a better, higher level than this, there's just no excuse. I mean, there's no excuse for us, for any of these assholes to defend themselves. But they're all so desperate to cover it up, hair transplants and whatever. Let's just fake our way through it. And I'm not, I'm not saying I'm above, putting on some pimple cream or doing something, to try to fix it. But it's It's just such a huge difference from you defending your stupid life and you defending life. I mean, that you should be able to tell the difference that, yeah, okay, it's not your fault that everything sucks, but it is your fault when you perpetuate the suck by essentially selling it, you know, with propaganda and lies and nonsense, that it's okay. It's okay if these little horrors happen and this shit happens and that shit happens, and somehow you're good enough, you're worth it, you're worth the torture that is experienced on this planet. And that's a preposterous statement to be made by you assholes. You're not worth it. Your movie stars aren't worth it. Your fucking baseball heroes are not worth it. You're just an asshole to think so. Just a complete motherfucking asshole. Yeah. So, I mean, like I said, it's okay for you to think, you know, to defend, like I said, some image of yourself that keeps you functional. But you should know philosophically you can't use that ego problem you have to defend life. That's just stupid. Ugh. Pathetically stupid. That's a concept and ideal that would be just so totally destroyed in the rhetoric dome, whatever I'm envisioning. I mean, I keep thinking of some way we can make this coliseum of truth. You know, that we can actually make something that just doesn't grind bullshit. That grinds those, that filters the sand and the manure out of the bullshit and comes out with a little, you know, the little diamonds of truth pop out of this thing. Yeah, we need a mechanism. We need a forum that has deep, substantial integrity. Can't be perverted. You know, by all the king's men and all the king's horses. I don't know exactly how horses would help. But anyway, yeah, I guess if Humpty Dumpty was really, really heavy, you know, you might need horses to lift him back up on the wall, I guess. But, yeah, they can't really, you know, horses can't pick up a broken egg. This is true. Anyway, make it go away, I suppose, by just stepping on it a lot. You can't tell it's there anymore. Anyway. Yeah, moving on. Yeah, that's what we'll do. So all the stuff I said before, you could put in here about transitioning, but now we will transition to the next segment in some sort of manner that will be the way it is. And fuck continuity. Yeah, it's probably overrated. Probably. Like everything else. Misunderstood by humans. So anyway, till next moment. Like now-ish. Alright, I'm back. Some like later, and yes, wiser and all that kind of thing, probably, right? Yeah. Yeah, only improves with age, right? Yeah, I don't know. So anyway, I decided we will do the Stephen Molyneux thing, so I have chosen this fight for Western civilization. That sounds sort of important. And, you know, presumably it'll be some sort of rag against the masses, the huddled, whatever, scum of the earth. And it'll not include the other side to the problem, right? So this really is that the rich and the poor are the suck, okay, of civilization. You know, not the poor who are trying to be civilized, but the poor who just think that it's good enough to be poor, and it's good enough to lay eggs in squalor, And then you have the other side, the rich, like I said, that just exploit everything, waste a huge amount of resources on their indulgences, and it's essentially a waste of human labor. You know, most of the labor we do is in some way to manufacture their profit, and their advantages in markets and all of this kind of stuff, and it's very unproductive. That's why we have a world full of all this aggressive advertising and aggressive, you know, salesmanship, and all the rest of this shit is just them competing with each other to make their dollars worth more money, and it's not to really produce any kind of value exchange. So the economy has got a huge amount of waste in it, and then their own self-indulgence creates a bunch of wasted labor. Laborers are making yachts instead of making hydroelectric plants, that kind of thing. And so people think it's okay, they have a job and they're making money, but they're not making money doing anything productive. And really, they got to know that. I mean, they got to know when they're doing all this slimy bullshit to make a dollar, that somehow this isn't what civilization should be. It shouldn't look like this, crank calling people to try to steal money. Anyway, click. I clicked on the video.
We all know. Come on, we all know. It's an in club for the evil kids, and you're not invited. You know, they've got their cozy relationships. They've got their tentacles.
Apparently this was cut out of one of his own videos or something. I don't know. It sounds like it started somewhere in the middle of something. So he posted a video that's a clip out of his own video or something. Doesn't say. Annoying.
Their squid, money-sucking, soul-destroying tentacles are embedded in each other. It's an in club. I'm not in it. You're not in it. You're never going to be in it. I'm never going to be in it. We're as much part of this team as a pig being led to the slaughter is part of the team called the farm. You're just livestock. You're just to be controlled, to be manipulated, and they don't really...
Right, and I don't know who he's talking about here, but apparently it's the evil liberals somehow. But the club you don't belong to is the billionaire club that owns all of that crap. It's manipulating you and forcing you to be a pig slaughtered. So he doesn't even get that part. A bunch of people who inherited the ownership of the farm.
Recently about how it's great that people are being dumbed down. So, this is the in club. This is what we're bought and sold for. We are merely the pawns that they trade upon. Our productivity is merely the money they use as collateral to borrow, give us a penny or two, and keep the rest for themselves. I mean, it's all that. Now, does that mean that we just give up completely? Because there is this temptation to fall into the black hole of cynicism, right?
Yeah, well, the hole you shouldn't fall into is the idiotic hole that somehow if you give them more guns and bullets, you're going to do better off. You're going to be better off if you give the rich more power. I don't think so.
Say, well, nobody has any integrity, the system is irretrievably broken, there's nothing that can be done. No, not yet. We do not have that luxury as yet. There is still a chance.
Gee, isn't this all incomprehensible so far? A chance. Okay, and our chance to get loose of the rich is to...
Still a chance. And I know I'm as surprised as anyone, if not more so, that I, of all people, am saying this. And I hope that gives you some sense of credibility. It gives you some sense that I have credibility in this area, because I've argued against this in the past.
How does that give you credibility that you're inconsistent and unprincipled? Oh, isn't that special? Yeah, that's one of my favorite things in credible people is their inconsistency and lack of principles. No.
No. America, the West, is not full-on banana republic as yet. There is still a chance to punish two-faced liars. And I don't just mean...
Right, so he just acknowledged his own two-faced liarry, which is, I've argued against this in the past, and then he says we should kill the two-faced liars. Amazing.
By withholding office from them, although Lord knows, for power junkies, for political junkies, that's reason enough. You know, political power is more addictive than cocaine biochemically. We get a high, a dopamine hit when we...
Yeah, whatever. All that crap doesn't have anything to do with system design. And If you engineer a system, then the system can take care of these problems, but you have to engineer the system to do that. Making an unsystem will not do that.
Rise up in the political chain. It's not just keeping their drug of choice away from them. As Trump said, special investigators, jail time, it's potential. The West is not a full-on banana.
Yeah, right. Jail time for what? You really think you're going to find something jail timey, do you? Worthy of such things in the petty graft. Yeah. That's the least of your problems. The least of your problems with the compromise politics is whether they steal a few $1,000,000 for themselves. Least of your problems. Trust me.
Not a republic yet. But we are close. In America, I'm going to use the we. I'm not an American, but we are all in this together. Trust me. We are right on the border.
Yes, blood-sucking. Pretending you're a legitimate nation that's hid under the American protection. Okay, and you really haven't paid the bills for the privilege you've had.
America is not a full-on banana republic yet. But it is only...
It's only one Trump vote away. Yeah, right. I mean, you can't get more of a banana, in terms of a, banana Republican than Donald the fucking kook Trump. Oh, man, amazing.
One election away from becoming one. One election away. May sound catastrophic, but let's look at it this way. You're going to get millions of more people coming in from the third world. You are going to get the legalization of 10...
I don't know if it'd be millions of more, but it'll be more, and that's not good. But again, Trump wants to give the richest people in the world another tax cut. The rich have gotten preposterously richer over the last 40 years. The one thing that isn't broken, the amount of richness the richness have, and then he wants to fix that. The one thing that's not broken, the rich are too poor. Yeah, no, that doesn't exist as a problem, and he wants to fix that one.
Of millions of illegal immigrants, and look at the countries they're coming from. When you bring the third world to the first world, you don't get the first world. You get the third world. Until we can figure that out, how to transfer Western values to the third world, you're going to get the banana republic.
Yeah, well, that's all true, but it's just think of who's voting for the Banana Republic. Again, the Banana Republic is being owned by a bunch of despots, by a bunch of elitists. That's the definition of Banana Republics, are basically countries controlled by a tiny percentage of people, and that's what we're heading for. And you're not fixing that or arguing to fix that. It's not the immigrants who are defending the rich. It's the red, white, and blue Americans waving the, don't tread on my wealth flag. Don't tread on my monarchy flag. The nobles deserve the money. They inherited it properly. The inheritance is victory. Inheritance is power. Inheritance is, you just can't get more earned than inheriting it. That's the flag they're waving. Those are Americans waving that flag, not the evil, crappy foreigners. Evil, crappy foreigners aren't the ones giving all of the wealth to the tiny percentage of elitists. It's not the foreigners who are the crazy racists thinking, we have to give all of our value and all of our assets to a bunch of genetically superior people. That we know aren't genetically superior.
The left gets in, if the Dems get in this election, we are very...
The left, the Dems. Yeah. Well, I'm sorry. I mean, it's a laughable fear compared to the Repubs, the Stepford wife of, whatever her name is, Monica's silly pants. What's her name? I mean, the silly Alaskan governor thing. Right. Yeah, well, it's a state of fucking mutants, elects governor. But anyway, you have that thing running something. And, the governor of New Jersey, a fucking idiot. A fucking idiot. I mean, a clown, a silliest person. Humiliatably, laughably silly. Running something?
Very close to losing it all. The entire Western experiment, to losing it all.
Right. Again, with Clinton too. Yeah, sure. I don't think so. You know, but the Donald, yes, that's the way you're going to lose it all. A guy who threatens to default on the debt, do other kinds of insane things. A guy who has no concept of how does even the stock market runs, because he thinks, I can pay for huge tax cuts by stealing a bunch of money from corporations and then pretending the stock market won't go down. That's clever. I'll take $2 trillion out of the stock market and give the rich a tax break, and somehow everything will work out just fine. That is his plan, you know, retard.
This is why I'm working so hard. This is why I'm doing 2 or 3 or more shows a day, and this is why I am working my brain to the melting point to get...
Yes, well, you're in the echo chamber, which is good. So it's all kind of harmless. You're talking to retard, so it's retard telling retard how to be retarded. So I'm you know, thankfully we're all equally ineffective. You know, even if you have a bigger audience, it's not big enough to be a threat.
This across to you. You're one election away from losing it all.
Oh, very dramatic. I mean, that's what's the other guy's? That's so Alex Jones of you. Yeah, how many times are you going to make that promise before people say, hey, you keep saying shit and it never happens?
Whether we end up pulling back from the brink, whether we end up taking the higher road back to reclaim the freedoms that we are.
Reclaim the freedoms again, like what? I mean, let's go all the way back to slavery. Oh, okay, yeah, sure. I mean, overt slavery.
Right on the edge of losing. That's up to you. Please, you must understand this. I'm not doing these videos for your entertainment. I hope that they're enjoyable. I'm not doing these videos so that you feel, oh no, it's covered. People are out there doing stuff, so I don't have to worry about freedom anymore. No, it is up to you. Up to you and you alone.
Yeah, you know, obviously this would be great if this, you know, if this could matter to somebody. But yes, they all know everybody's just measuring their personal interest, and that's what they're going to pull the little lever to the advantage of. And apparently, it's in the personal interest of a bunch of Southern religious kooks to elect a insane billionaire. Yeah, go figure.
It's not me. I'm not going to fix it for you. Not Mike Cernovich, not Ann Coulter, not Chelsea Johnson, not Paul Joseph Watson, not Alex Jones, not Lauren Southern, not Vox Day, Jason Witchwine, or even Donald Trump. Nobody is going to save what we have but you! You understand?
No, I don't understand that at all. Yeah, well, by what? By voting for a tax cut to the richest people in the world. Because they're so desperately going to save us. That's what the richest people in the world do. They save us from things. No.
This is the time when the planets align. This is the time when everything comes together. This next month is the time when everything comes together. And you don't have to play a game.
Yeah, well, this all might be true. Like I said, if Trump actually got elected, it might create enough chaos in America that the entire thing would have to be torn to pieces, and it would invigorate, you know, all of the different people who have an interest in civilization and didn't realize they did. And so they start fighting for it again. Because that's all you're taking advantage of, Mr. Crazy Pants, is that, you know, most people find a niche and it's comfortable enough, and as long as nothing shakes their environment, they'll settle. And Donald Trump is enough of a lunatic where he'll have things broken catastrophically in no time, and their world will start shaking, and they'll realize it's, you know, time to be invested in civilization.
You don't have to play a video game. You are in a war of ideas at the moment, and now is the time.
Right, and what are your ideas? Oh, that's right, you don't have one. I mean, you really don't. I mean, beyond the fact that, yes, okay, you figured out that there's too many foreigners in America. Okay, I might agree. But Donald Trump's not going to fix that. Walls aren't the way to fix that. There's 10-cent solutions to that, which is, employer sanctions. Game over. I'd like to hear your critique of that sometime. I guess I'll have to find some kind of video where you actually explain how employer sanctions aren't the rational way to prevent illegal immigration.
To step up. Now is the time to get involved. Now is the time to get people motivated. Now is the time to get people to go ahead and vote. Now is the time to save.
It's just really boring me now, so I have to just move ahead. Now is the time. This is the one. This is the guy. This is the man. The most preposterous liar that has ever run for president in the history of people running for president. I mean, he hasn't put one sentence together that's not a fucking lie. Preposterous lie. I didn't support the Iraqi war. I didn't. Yeah. And you have the videotape of him doing this shit, It's just amazing.
Wait for history to do something on its own. It is all your decision, your choice. Because now, you see, you're watching this channel, you're watching other people's channels, you got the knowledge. See, if you know the Heimlich maneuver and someone's choking to death, and you don't do something...
Right. So, yes, the Heimlich maneuver is make the rich richer. That'll save us from suffocating. No.
Now that you know what needs to be done to save the world, you are now responsible for saving the world. And
that's just so amazing. It's just amazing that somebody, yes, that Donald will save the world. I mean, it's just amazing that somebody could actually think that's possible. But again, he doesn't think that either. I think he's invested in the chaos thing, and he thinks once the chaos comes, that all the right-wing Christians will come marching forward with all the inherent sluts behind them. And save America. Yeah, Christians and inherent whores.
Act courageously. Act peacefully. Otherwise, the fall of freedom. The end of all that makes wise men want to get up in the morning and fight for a better world.
Yeah, inheritance. I want to fight for the world where people inherit its ownership. Because I just think that's my obligation, is to fight for little Donald and little Eric and little Ivanka. I'm so invested in them. I just love them to pieces, and I just want to keep making sure the world is safe for the little inheritance whores. I can't imagine doing anything else with my life but devoting it to the people who've done nothing. Solved no problem, created no beauty, done absolutely nothing to earn ownership of the system, and excretion of huge amounts of blood money. They just suck it out of our veins. We go there to get, yes, please, suck some more of my blood and drink it. Yes, to keep you alive. Oh yeah, I just can't imagine, just how horrible the world would be if I didn't have rich people to die for, and rich people to suffer for, so they can go out on their yacht and clink their little glasses together and shit and laugh at me. Oh, I love it. I love when they humiliate me that so perfectly. When they suck my blood and then drink it and then spit it into the ocean. Pour me another glass. I feel like spitting some more asshole blood. We sure did sucker those fuckers. You suck. You're crazy. Yeah, fucking. They're just like, it's like zombie farmers. Ah! Serious face. Oh, he didn't have anything to say. Isn't that good? 100% financed by crazy fucks like you who, who wish to propagandize on subjects and not say anything rational. Yeah, fine. That's what runs the world, is everybody's little special interest niche of crap. So, you know, freeloader, freeloader radio or something, right? I mean, just protect the most disgusting of the freeloaders. They just can't get more disgusting. You know, in terms of the waste and the squander. Oh yeah, make America free for the freeloaders, the worst of the freeloaders, the biggest, fattest freeloaders we can find, and give them lots of room to graze. You know. Anyway, yeah, just disgusting. So enough of that. That's, you know, bunch of. I mean, you can't even call it rhetoric, right? It's just some sort of appeal to, look, I'm making an angsty face. Please help. Poster child. You know, something. I guess, but that's, you know, that's how everybody works. You know, it's all, you know, everybody cheats. Can't just have a straight up argument or make one. It's all got to be wrapped in some sort of bullshit and crap. So anyway, I believe I've had enough, and so this is probably all there'll be for this weekend. And we'll see what the see what I see is, you know, you know, just keep. Got the whole winter to face. It's just going to be so tough. You just feel it, you know, coming on. You know, like the plague or something. You can just, oh, I got the plague. I can feel it. Damn. Anyway. Yeah. Till next time. That's all I can say. We'll see. Whatever. Yeah. Till then. I just can't wait, right? Oh, I just can't wait till it's next weekend and I'm doing this again. Oh. No, I can wait. So anyway. I don't have any, there's nothing I can say to that. I said, well, yeah. I'll try to come up with some kind of insight that provides the better response than this. Yes, I have to do better than this, but I just don't know quite how to do that. So we'll see if I figure it out this week. But I wouldn't count on it. My track record sucks. Anyway, till next time, and such. It's not even on the hour. This clock doesn't work. Well, it works, it just doesn't work well. Like the filthy rich. Anyway, till next time, such.